All right, I guess we'll go ahead and kind of just start populating some stuff. Sure. Here's what we'll do. We will do a quick, I've been kind of spending some time messing around in the version 9 stuff. So I've been kind of doing some exploration. I know that version 9, if you're watching this in April 4th of 2024, you don't have access to it unless you are in the beta program, which you might be. But if you are watching this back later, I'll kind of just show off some of the newer stuff that I think is cool functionality in version 9. Let me get full screen here so you don't got to see all my bookmarks and all that. Cool. Um, Great. So in version 9, the whole interface is changing. So rather than having a project studio and all of that, you're going to have just one simple place where everything is stored. You're going to have icons and descriptions you can put in for your individual projects to keep your organization a little cleaner. But what I think is cool to focus on today is some of the settings and management of individual projects. So when you first land on a project in the newer versions, version 9, you'll get this screen with these welcome tiles. So it allows you to create to-do lists for other people that might be working on a similar project in your organization. It gives you a singular place where you can see issues and what the issues might be with those individual projects. So it gives you kind of a bird's eye view on the configuration of your project. But I think this to-do list is a nice, fun, functional tool that you can use to keep your project organized. I've been looking at this, making materials around this last couple of days. So with a to-do list, you can create a to-do item. So you could say um, map CSV entries. And you can put a description or documentation from your organization about what needs to actually be mapped. So when we're mapping CSV, you say, you want to map the CSV address data into form to be approved. And you can actually assign it to a particular person. So if you start typing things in, it will give you, on this particular instance, I don't have many user accounts, but you can assign it to all users, or you can say, hey, this person that I did make, tester at email.com, you can say, this is for them to do. And you can save it, and it will show up in the to-do list for those people. You can mark things as complete and organize it there. And that's a cool, fun new way to keep yourself organized if you are leaving decisions for the day, the work day, and you say, rather than taking manual notes on what you need to do the next day, you can say, hey, for 4.5.24, which is the next date, you need to, you know, um, label steps and create annotations. You can leave it open as an assignee. Um, and edit this and go, oh, okay, so I need to label the steps and create annotations so when you come in the next day, you're not confused about where you're at. And when you're done, you can click the check mark, and it will go away. You can filter by state, you can filter by assigned. And that's kind of a cool new function coming down the pipeline. Um, Give it a second to populate. We'll take a look at some of the health score stuff too, because I think that is also cool in maintaining and monitoring the health of your project. And if you are just joining the Zoom, which it looks like some people may be, feel free to put any questions you might have that are specific in the chat, and we can get to those in just a moment. So again, if you have specific questions, please feel free to enter them in there. When it comes to the health score, I think this is a new fun and functional thing coming on the pipeline is it gives you insight into what your project is doing. A low health score does not mean your project's not functional, uh, but it will give you, tips and decisions, best practices in terms of ordering your steps, naming your steps, and things like that. So let's take a look at the health of this particular project. I'm not sure there's much in this, but we can look at this. So this is defining, how you are defining the health of your project, you can make some changes there. But if I click on my project health, which is only at 50, not a passing grade, I can look at the details and say, okay, well, why am I so low? That 50 score is the average of the individual elements within your score. So if you take the average of all of these elements, they will average out to 50, I would think. And you can go in and say, okay, well, why is this not scoring me so high? Why do I have a 37 here? Because you want to change your form name. I probably, when I was making this, just put in form one. So these things can kind of keep you organized as well as give you things to work on along the fringes of your project. You might think you have a functional project, but continuing to go through and, updating the names, adding descriptions, and things like that. And for every single type of step, you're going to have different scoring criteria. So obviously you cannot map, uh, you know, step connections or logical on a form, or maybe things along that lines. But um, it's just a cool insight into your actual project itself. And once you kind of go through and make some changes, or you make changes to how you want to score your project, because you might have different internal things, you can recalculate your score. And I did not make any changes, so I am still at a 50. Another cool thing that I think, again, we're talking about project management here, I guess, in totality, coming down the pipeline. We talked about project health. We talked about some of the other stuff, but activity is another cool functional thing. So it'll show you how many times things have been run, who ran them, job starts, API calls, and the elements. So this project only has a singular flow because I was messing with flows, but it says, hey, you have one flow in this total project, and we have 6 total accounts. This is all in your total instance, not rather to the specific project, but you can look at project activity and say, who's been working on what things, and it will give you insight. User activity, it's probably only going to be me. Oh, completed to-dos. I completed two to-dos today, and I created 2 to-do todays. And I did not set this up. This is all going to come stock with your version 9 instance. This is not a report that I had to make, although it does look like it was made in the decisions report designer, or, but those are those. So, all right. Configuration. In the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of going through and talking about various steps. I think we've already done dynamic evaluation, but let's see in the chat. Do we have anything new? So we got some more new participants. Please feel free. I know we just got some new folks in. My name is Rob. Welcome in. If you just joined, feel free to put a question in the chat, or you can raise your hand in the participants section and I can let you talk, and you can say what you want some insight into so we can lunch and we can learn, ideally. So I'll give you a moment to type something in the chat. If you are just joining and you're like, this doesn't look like my version decisions, I was kind of showing off some version 9 stuff, but I will gladly go back and look at whatever version you might be on, whether it be 8 or otherwise. So anybody in the chat want to give me, oh, there we go. Raise your hand. Perfect. There you go, Elizabeth. Yeah, feel free. I just let you speak. So whenever you're ready, you can unmute and we can help you out. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The other day I was on one of these and was able to get some great help on being able to define some parameters on a form that then basically would filter out a report on another page
Okay.
once hit run report. But my next question is a continuation of that same project, and really what I'm trying to understand is we've got a PDF viewer. So we have, once the report has been filtered the way that the user has, designated. So I want to see only this client, right? And so they pick client XYZ and they only see that report then gets filtered down to that specific client. We have a PDF viewer so report is on the left side, PDF viewer is on the right side. Just to kind of test this out, we want to be able to see the combined PDFs of that report. So the report is made up of rows of data that are basically letters, and all of the data extracted from those letters. And so now we want to kind of see the data with the letters side by side, which is kind of why we have the dual view, which is left side report, right side PDF viewer. Right now, we can only see one PDF at a time. And I know that there's a way to multi-select and see all of them if we wanted to kind of see them combined in a PDF viewer, but we keep getting a little bit blocked on that.
Okay, so let's see here. So you're talking about just some clarifying questions.
Mhm.
When you are viewing, you don't want the PDFs merged so that you scroll through 30 pages of them. You want to be able to click on some letter designation on the left side of your report viewer, and then it will populate a different PDF on the right side? Or do you
Um,
want,
so well, ideally it would do both, right? If I selected one PDF would pop up on the right side. But if I selected like 50 rows of data, then I should be able to see all like scroll through all 50 letters on the right side of the 50 rows of data that I just selected.
hmm, okay, so that is an interesting, give me a second to ponder here. If we wanted to select multiple rows on the left, and then the report viewer would consolidate those and you could scroll through. So you could select like a grouping of, letter A, and it will show you all of the PDFs associated with that letter designation of in one continuous loop.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see here. Um,
It's kind of the problem that we're trying to solve really is
yeah,
we've got a process where OCR plus manual intervention is pulling the data off the letters. What they're doing is auditing it. So the data, the report is the data, and then there's a physical letters themselves or the digital letters, the scans. And so they're basically kind of matching those up and saying like, does this data match what was pulled from this letter? Is this correct? And kind of going through and a change, or I guess they are if it is wrong, they are then basically changing the data at that point. But that's really what they're trying to do is just kind of have a side by side view, and they want to be able to.
trying to find if I have one, and we can kind of do some if a report viewer where we can view might be in this project. Um, let's see. Jared, is anything ringing a bell with you? I'm not trying to directly hand it off, but ringing a bell to consolidate uh, for the report viewer so that the report viewer will consolidate. I'm trying to think of how that would be populated. Um, is that,
Yeah, do you mind if I screen share? I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I don't
I
mind.
have an idea. It's more like an experiment, so I'll
Yeah,
build
yeah.
it for you.
Thank you, thank you, Jared.
Yeah. All right, Elizabeth, let's see. It's been a while since I've interfaced with dashboards. All right, so I'm just going to create this Elizabeth B dashboard. I'll share this with you if it's of use. So what I'm thinking of, all right, so let's say you have, to the left, you have a report view, right?
Mhm.
And then you click on one of those records, and then it displays all the documents, whether the person has n number of documents, whether it be 1 or 10. It
Right.
displays all of them in the document viewer, right?
Mhm.
Let's see. Here's how I would solve this. I'm just gonna. A lot of this stuff might be just set up to like, you know, to demonstrate that feature. You probably don't have this. Like, I'm gonna create a folder extension. This is just for me, so I can kind of build that kind of example. So let's see, example folder extension. I'm sure you're probably using a case entity or something different, which would be fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Example folder stuff. All right, and I'm gonna say this is almost name. We'll do that way. And I'm just gonna generate some data. Perfect. And I got my data folder. This is gonna be like folder stuff. Can I rename this real quick? And this will be folder data. I can spell folder data stuff. All right. Bear with me as I speed create this because this is not related to your question. Generate data. And we're going to go to user defined types. I feel like this should be like we should make that, we should, internal team, we should submit this as an Olympic competition, how fast someone can build. And we get awards for it. I think it'd be fun. Let's see, folder extensions, example folder stuff. We create the folder stuff. I'm going to go to for each. For each, we go through this and we do this. No, that's not what I wanted. Yes, that is what I want to do. We go here, and I'm just going to create 2 records. Then I don't need this. I'm just going to create 2 records because that's all I really need to paint the picture here. So we're going to do build data. We're going to say this is, we'll do Greg. And constant, this is going to be Greg. And we're just going to say the folder name is, let's say, Greg's financial documents. Sure. Sure, I can't spell it. That's fine. We're just going to go with that. We're going to go all, there we go, folder data stuff. Put this there. All right, cool. Now I'm going to debug this because I think I can debug. Yay. All right, cool. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to say we're going to grab one more. This is Sabrina. And this one's going to be, I don't think I copied that. All right, cool. All right, so we got 2. And then let me add some documents into their folders. And then I can finally get to the part where I'm actually displaying folder data stuff and documents. What stuff that I have on my document? Sure, let's do, let me make this a little bit bigger, and then I could do, sure, we'll put this in here. Oh, I can't do that in that folder. Oh, do I have to do it through flow? Darn it, come on. All right, so then we're gonna say, add documents to folder, flow. I'm almost done, and then this will be more related. I'm gonna add documents to what? Actually, let me just pause here. Well, it doesn't matter. I was gonna ask if you're using a document or a file reference, but
We're using file reference.
okay, cool. Then I'll just use a file reference just to make it more correlative. I don't know if that's a word. We'll say it's a word for today.
Sure.
A file reference, and we'll say create entity from file reference. There we go. Awesome. And then I'm going to do just a show form step just so I can upload documents into this specific folder. Create new, upload thingy. And then we shall go to file upload. And yeah, let's do multiple file upload. Multiple file upload area. I like that better. And then we'll do a button because you always have to have a button. And then we'll do file. I'll put a file reference. Haha, look at that. File reference. Yes, I get easily excited for simple things. All right, so now I have this. So now I can for each through these documents. And I can hit next, and we're gonna go next. Click here. And then the folder ID. Oh, that's where that's gotta be a constant. So let me go ahead, select from, it's gonna be, oh, I didn't pass it in. For each, I always forget this part. And file references, yeah, it's gonna be list. Go here, boom, item here, boom. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up this. I can't spell, there we go. And we have data here for data, folder data stuff. I'm gonna grab Greg, get example folder ID, perfect, go back here, constant, we paste this, and then for the form, we're gonna debug this, we're good. And then I can drag in a couple things. I'm gonna say this is this, and we'll do a log search, and then we'll do, right, and this could be PDFs. I'm just using text documents because that's just all that I have on my thing.
Okay.
Container logs. Sure. All right, actually, let's see. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. It's back here. Let's make, I was trying to make that full screen. Let me grab one more. What do I have? I have, sure. All right, cool. And we're going to add all these documents here. So that gets stored into Greg's folder. Boom, we got that into Greg's. And what we're gonna do is I gotta switch this folder ID because we put stuff in Sabrina's or in Greg's, and now I'm gonna put stuff in Sabrina's folder. Oh, darn it, I just copied that. All right, here we go, back here, now I can, and the number should be different. The number is different. Okay, we're good, and we're gonna debug this. And we're gonna add here. We're gonna add a log search, sure, we'll put that in here, and we'll just leave it as 2. But all right, cool. Now I can actually work with All right, so now here's the part that would be more kind of correlative to what you're building. All right, so now we're in the dashboard perspective. So I have the data. We can go inside and we can see we got these 3 documents in Greg's folder, and then in Sabrina's folder, we got these 2 documents. Cool.
Mhm.
Now let's create a page, or I have to create a report that reports over those things. And the report's going to be of the record. So I got to say report over folder data stuff. And then we'll go to folder extensions. What do I call it? My folder, example folder stuff. And I just need the name. And any name would be fine. It's the same thing. Oh, that's going to bother me. I should have fixed the documents because now it's going to look weird. But that's okay. All right, so now I get to create the page. Here's where we're at. So create custom page thingy. Put that in here, rather report viewer. And here's where now we can start thinking over the stuff. Okay, so now what you can do is, okay, so now, and I'm gonna get my document viewer. So this is gonna be the thing that's more related to you. So this looks for, oh, I wonder if this works. We can, oh no, it does. We can get it from the bus. Okay, cool. But then why do I have this? Okay, we'll test that. So here's what you would do. I'm just gonna make this chromeless. And so what you can do is, oh, I might have needed PDFs. Hold on. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. All right, so it's the same process, even if it fails because I have the wrong file extensions. But basically, you have your document viewer. I'm assuming you have this set up, like this part you have.
Right.
And then what you would do is you would have, I think we have to use a form tile here because you can't run a flow with this. So I would recommend another form tile. Form or flow run part like we talked about the other day. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it via, I'm just going to do a form tile because my brain thinks better that way. So we have a form tile. I think I can pick an existing. I can't. So then what I'll do, and then I'm going to say this is display all documents form tile. Create this. I don't need a button. It's just going to be a document viewer. And we display this. Let's make this over here. And this one's going to be a file reference. And so we'll say this is file ref ID or file ref. We'll just put it that way. Okay, cool. We got that. And then what we can do here is I believe in here, we would have, I have to set up a couple things before I do this. One, what I would do is since you're storing things, since you're using case entities, this example will still apply because they're folders. But what you'll want to do is you'll want to share the folder ID. So in this case, the entity ID or folder ID, in this context, it's the same thing. And make sure we set that as a send filtered change data source. So FID, pretty easy. Once we set that, this doesn't need to be visible. I can set this to be invisible because it will still present itself there. So I'll call this that ID. All right, cool. So now I have that set up. So now with this active form flow or this input flow that I have here, what I can do is I have, perfect. Oh, this is great. So now what I can do here is I can say, let me get the page variable of that folder ID, right? So I think it's called, variable name is fid. I think that's what I named it. And it's going to be a string. And there's a specific step that you'll want and you'll do. It's like combine PDF files, which is why I realized mine might mess up because I don't have PDF files. I think we'll be okay, but I think we'll be fine. We'll test it out. And so what I'm going to do is there is a step in internal service. That's internal integration, internal services. And if you go into the file reference service that you're using, there should be a step that says get from folder ID. Let's see, get from file reference. If I can find a file reference. get by folder ID. I think it's this one. And basically you pass in a folder ID and I have it in the wrong orientation. You get the folder ID and it should output a list of file references. Your list of file references, it does. So you select from this the page data that we get from there. And then we pass in that list of file data. Select from flow from, oh, that's the problem. So we got to work with that. How do we get all, well, no, we should be able to get it. So if you drill down into this list, there should be all file data inside of it. Where is it? All file data, all file data. I know it's here. I remember seeing it. Extract, all create, come on. Right, internal team. I'm not making this up. There was like an all file data in here, I thought. If I made it up, there's another way I can do it. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not seeing file data. Okay, so then what we have to do, so I have that. Is there any way to get the file data? Get file data. Okay, cool. So what we can do, that outputs the file data. So I was hoping we didn't have to do this. I was pretty sure with oh, it's the file reference entity. That's why. I think that's why it's a little bit different. But typically you would have a file data over here. I wonder if it's like all extension data. Nope, it's not an extension data. I know, you're fine. File, oh, there you go, all file, no, there you go, boom, found it, okay. You could use this step that just takes in the file reference name and retrieves the data for you, but I found the property. It is here, I knew it was. I was like, I'm not making this up. So if we go into all file reference, and then there's all data, boom, now I have the path to get the all file reference all data. And what this step should do is it combines all of those documents into one file, and then I output file data, and then I can pass this. I mean, do I have to load it? I should make that a file data. File reference. That's because that's the document viewer. So let me just attach it. I'm going to change that because I actually want it to be file data because I presume you don't need to store this combined file. You just need to display it that way. So I'm going to edit. Can I say this is file? Hey, there we go. File data. Oh, let me change the variable name so it's input file data. And then we save this. And then now what I think should happen if I edit the input flow, and we can test this out. Combine files, PDF, sure, which I think it should display. I think I'll be fine. If it doesn't, this would be what you'd have to do. I just don't have PDFs or a lot of PDFs to display this, but this is the step you'd utilize. Okay. Let's go ahead. I'm just curious to see if my thing works. I'm going to add this page to my dashboard. Page, dashboard, create custom page thingy, save. And let me go to custom page and let's see if I have, oh, I hate that thing. Error loading logs, error loading file, please check logs. Sure, I will check the logs. Applications, system tools, login, what's that? Oh, that flow errored out, okay. Error running step combined, what does it say? Error running step invoking. I wonder if it's because I don't have PDFs. I think that's why, because they're all text files. Info, create custom page, invoking, must have at least one doc. Oh, actually, I think it's just not passing in anything. I don't think I might have the wrong folder ID. But this is what you'd have to do. So essentially all this is saying is that I think my step that's getting by folder ID, I have the wrong folder ID. So I think if I fix that, I'll be able to get it. But essentially this is the process you would do. I would recommend this way. The other way is utilizing the flow run part. I'm not sure which way you did from last time, but you can utilize the flow run part. The only part that would be different is that you would do that logic that I did in the input in the flow run part itself. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay. Yeah, that's the only difference, but it should be the same way. And then when you combine the PDFs, it's just one long file, and then you could scroll through and see all the different documents, whether it be, 1 or 50.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. I'll try it out.
Sounds good. And I'll configure this after the call and send it to you just so you have something to reference.
Okay. I'll put my email in the chat.
Perfect. All right, we got another question. Or do you want to pass it off, Robert? You want to take over this one?
I think it'll end up being one for you as well. But the
Okay.
question is, I have a list of JSON variables that want to be sorted by two variables within JSON at the same time. I'm using sorting array step, but has sort by one variable. And if I add a sort by array step, the previous sort would be changed. Which step should I use? So we're looking to
Whoa.
sort a JSON by two separate variables.
I'm going to allow you to talk, Anne, because I, be honest, that didn't make sense to me. And it's not you, it's probably me.
Yes. So I have like two variables at the same
Yes.
time that I want to be sorted. So for example, like the first one would be like how many like customers. And then the second one would be like what product type. So maybe we can group by product type first, then how many customers like need to be sorted, like rank them. So like first, if I group by like product type, then it will give me, like group by ascending product type. But however, if I added like how many customers, like after like the first sort arrays, it would change the previous sort, because it could be like product type 2 have like more customers than like product type 1, and then you rank up like in the beginning, like you ranked up in the like top higher like tiers in the JSON. So I want to do like product type and then like how many like customers of that product type, like the rank at the same time.
Interesting. Okay, I somewhat understand, and I think it's just it's just abstract. It's a really good question. I think what I would do, here's the step I would use. And maybe you're already using it, so let me know if this is totally not helpful.
I'm using like these sort array stuff, but then they only have like one variable that could be using.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Using sort array. Oh, I got you. And then you're putting in probably your JSON type or whatever it is. Do I have a JSON?
Yeah.
Let me see if I have a JSON. Oh, this is a JSON. Haha. That's a JSON object I created field. Cool. Okay, I gotcha. So what you could do is there is this it would take a little bit of configuring. Like this is not there's no simple step to do this, but you could do a for each in group. And what a for each in group step does is you pass in the type. So let's say I got a collection of let me just pass in some accounts so you can see fetch entities. All right, so for each in group is very similar to like the for each step where like loops through and you get the single item. The only difference is when I use the for each in group step, I'm just grouping my data and I'm running that specific group, right? So you could think of the concept like I have like, 10 customers, 2 of them are government, or the first 5 is government contracting, the second 5 is like healthcare, right? And if and for the group that's government, I want them to do a different workflow, and the group that's medical, I want them to do a separate thing. So in this case, you can group them by customer type, right? And then you can batch run that specific group. That's kind of the concept here. And so why I'm recommending it, because it may seem like that's not really your use case. The reason why I'm recommending it is because if you have the first group of what you want to do, so I can do let me just grab that in accounts. I can say, hey, for this first group, I want to group by the field of whatever your JSON is. So let's say, imagine this is your JSON type, right? And so let's say I wanted to group it by created on date. So all the accounts created on this date, I can then batch group and then I'll just say, run, where's that? What's it called?
Sort array.
Exactly, right? I want a sort array for this group, right? And I want to sort it in this way. And so now you already have it grouped by that that data variable. And then you could just say, okay, now for this specific piece of list, right? I can do the each grouping because that's the item name for the for each in group step that comes out here. And then you can do your sort that way. I would try that. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that will accomplish the goal, but it is a good place to start.
Okay, cool. But when we do like for each in group stack, can I sort it over there as well?
Say that one more time.
Like for each, so if I want also sort like the group, like like medical, that kind of stuff, like, can I sort it in there, or I need to do like another sort array before
It would
this
be
step?
you, I don't think you, well, you might have to. You'd have to test that
Mm.
one out. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I think this, when you select the group field, I think it does sort it automatically by that field. So you may not need to, because
It
then you'd be like,
does.
it does automatically sort it?
Yeah, I was messing with for each in group
Sweet.
all morning. Yeah, it'll sort it. So when you go to your outputs, you could like
Perfect.
for this particular use case, you could do like is you or user type, and it would say robot or human,
Mhm.
or however they dictate it, user type. Yeah, and then so that'll be your first sorting, and then your second sorting should be the other one, whatever your, type that you would want it to sort by, and then it should sort two separate sections.
Cool. I will get it tested for
Sounds good.
each. Yep, thanks.
My pleasure.
Oh.
All right, we got another one. Caleb Mooney. WebSockets and decisions. Got it. I have some data that is available via API or WebSocket. For timeliness, WebSocket would be preferred, but I'm unsure if I can set that up in decisions. The wait on external system step related to WebSocket might be of use. I'll allow you to talk so you can get some more context of it.
Sure, yeah. So as I mentioned, I've got some data from an external service that is available from API or WebSocket. What it is, it's lightning strikes, weather data. So I'm trying to get the quickest response of when a lightning strike is. I wasn't sure if decisions could host a WebSocket client, right, and have that kind of persistent connection with that data source.
So let me ask you this. So decisions, you're not trying to run decisions as a WebSocket. You have another system and you want decisions to call that via WebSocket, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Let's see. Let's check. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I asked my internal team, but let's explore. I think if we go to external services, I want to see what the web service. That's just the WSDL. I'm not sure. Let's see. So anything in the REST service category, or external services. So data service, we already know. Open API, steps API. What I'm looking at is I think you might have to do the API route, because I don't think we can. Let me just ask one more group to confirm. Support. Decisions integrate with a let's see. Let me do some more, a little more exploring. So now I go data service, REST service. I wonder, could I apply this? Have it different? Nope. Show advanced. That's just headers. We don't want that. Can I go back to show? Open API, namespace, client name. Add a web service. Folder. Let's see. See, I'm probably gonna make a statement here. I don't think we can integrate with the WebSocket. I think we integrate with web services, OData service, and anything that's open API. So I think you will have to use the other, the REST API way to
Gotcha.
connect to that external system. I still have the question open, so post your email in the chat. If I get an answer to that, that's different from that. I'll send you an email, letting you know, like, hey, here's how you do the WebSocket route. But I think currently it's just open API stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, I'll toss it back over to Robert.
I think we have cleared where I know Caleb's still in here and we have, like I said, like he said, Jared put it into another channel and we have people typing responses as I see or as I speak. So hopefully we can get information for you here in the next couple seconds or moment.
Cool. Y'all hang out.
Cool. I hear Jared asking around as we speak on the other side of the room. So hopefully we can get something on that. We'll give it just another moment. Say with only a couple of minutes left. I don't really want to deep dive too much. That if you're watching this later, that for each in group, we did an internal kind of survey like a week ago about people's favorite steps, and like 10 people chimed in with the for each in group. So I spent all morning kind of navigating that, and it is really cool and functional way to parse your data by a common variable. But that is what I have on that. I already kind of went through some of my more rambly stuff for the day. Let's give it one more moment to see if people respond. And if not, Caleb, like I said, we have people on your question. Jared's asking people in real life, and our support channel, people are figuring it out right now. So give about another 30 seconds or a minute and see if they respond. And if not, we'll probably end up closing them out. Okay. Thanks, Sabrina. Got one more person typing in here. All right. Well, so Caleb, we're gonna we'll end up getting back to you just because I see them typing up and they're trying to figure out um some of the nuances of it. I can see in the channel people are typing, so more information will come to you here in the next hopefully hour or so. They're
Sure.
recommending trying with JavaScript.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the probably solution I had found, was to create an in-between there, a middleman, and then pass it through probably a webhook into decisions, or I guess API, either way. Whatever data was coming, have that JavaScript client be there in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah, if you have any questions or need specific details from me, let me know and I'll be happy to provide those.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for joining. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and close them up for the day. And like I said, we'll be back on Monday with this lunch and learn, but we'll have information for you, Caleb, ideally today. So thank you guys for joining, internal and external, and thank you for watching on YouTube. So appreciate everybody. Have a good rest of your Thursday.